Hi, Abby. So I wanted to try to get this third and final video depicting the third and final form in the set of Qigong that I've been showing you out to you as soon as possible so that you could have it as a complete set as I practice it. Having said that, as I've said already, this particular form, final form in this set, is from a different but related system to Tai Chi. It's from something called Baguazhang. And I know I've only said the name of it so far and haven't done a whole lot of explaining, and that's on purpose because I don't want to I don't want to make these videos. I want to try to make these videos like as well sculpted as possible and as free from extraneousness as I possibly can, as simple and direct. Um, and since it's a different, although related system, there could be a lot to say about it that isn't necessarily right now necessary to what we're doing presently. And also, I have a plan that after this set is done, then as I said in the texts, I will I will move on after some time to probably what will turn out to have to be 3 videos of instruction to split that compilational form I was telling you about, that sort of integral Qigong form that I've curated for my personal practice. Probably have to split it up into 3 sections for the instructional part. And then I want to do a 4th video with the entirety of that form, me practicing it exactly as I practice it, so that you can have it have the video of it exactly as it looks and feels it for you to practice along with it as it's done. Um, then after that, I was thinking possibly, if you want, if you're open to it, I can share with you more about Baguazhang, specifically the Baguazhang Qigong that I practice. It's not, it's just the Qigong form of it. There's a lot to Baguazhang. It's extremely sophisticated, extremely complex, and I don't practice the the sort of further forms any longer. I kind of like reduced it down to more simple and direct qigong practice. But um, this particular third and final part of the set of qigong we've been doing with embrace the tree, then open the gate, embrace the cloud, or turning the cloud, is a you could say the most basic form, at least in terms of the upper body, in Baguazhang practice. That's one way it could be described. And when you see it, you will probably notice why I added it in, because there actually is a formal, if you will, even if not technical, a formal similarity between them. And it makes sense that they're sister systems. So if you remember, and I'm just doing like just to show how they kind of like flow together just a little bit, from like embrace the tree, and then to let me back up a little bit. So I'll go outside the frame as minimally as possible, and then to opening the gate and turning the cloud, and then from here, this is called yin yang stance. So this is where we're getting into stuff that I'll show you today. Yin yang stance. And we would sort of stay in this stance to sink into this stance for a little bit, just like with embrace the tree. This is just a stable stance. And then from here, I'm going to go, further into detail with this, but I just wanted you to see up and then down. So the turning is the same. But it's much more like a spiral than a circle. We're getting more sophisticated here. We're adding an element. You'll probably be able to feel a transition from the circular to the spiral, integrating that in. So up and here. Oh, good. My hands are in the scene. Okay, good. And then the transition is, and then to the other side. Inhale. Exhale as we go down. Inhale. Exhale as we go down. Now, before I get into the instructional portion, I do want you to see something from Bagua so you have a better idea of how that integrates through. So this form that we're doing, I'm going to stand this way, is called sometimes single palm. It's like the basic posture of Bagua. And if you notice how the hands are, the lower hand is sort of almost in a, you can notice that the palm is just a little bit outward, just a little bit out toward the center, okay? And maybe the palm itself at about a 45 to 60 degree angle, okay? And about at where the inner elbow would be, just like in Embrace the Tree, Turn the Cloud. Then the forward hand is almost, fingers lightly, you want the hand, the lightness of the wrist is really going to translate into the hands now. And that relationship between stability and relaxation is going to get more sophisticated in a practice like this. So it's sort of the palm is almost not quite straight on to the center, at a slight angle. Sometimes the way they teach this is that there's like a target here between the thumb, the frenulum, between the thumb and the index finger. I don't practice it that way. I practice with the, there are systems, most of the systems within Bagua are focused on sort of the palms being more, the forward palm, I should say, being more toward the center line. Now, where the fundamental, because I'm going to show you the footwork a little bit, the basic form of the footwork is circle walking. It's called circle walking. Baguazhang was collated right around the turn of the last century about, and it was meant to be an advanced practice that was only taught to people who had gone at least to the mastery level in one other art at least. Now, without getting into all that, its fundamental forms have roots way back, thousands of years ago, when the Taoist priests originally formalized their practice. And I guess you could say their practice. And what they would do is, they would say their prayers while walking around a tree in a circle. And Baguazhang uses that fundamental format for their own. There's different styles of walking in the more advanced sections of Bagua, but the fundamental form, the most recognizable and fundamental form of Baguazhang is circle walking. And as if around a tree. The tree in the center, and this is where your focus is. So there's like almost a 90-degree relationship between the bottom half of the body is sort of like faced forward depending on where you are, and the top of the top half of the body with the hands and the hands is so you're turned. Your waist, this is a lot more waist involvement, therefore a lot more dantian, qi involvement here, a lot more. And I can get more into that when we get to that section much later. But I just wanted you to see this. So we have single palm on top, this basic palm on top I just showed you. And then we have, on the bottom, we have the feet relatively like pretty much straight ahead. But the top half of the body is always, almost always, there's one exception, almost always faced toward the tree, toward the center of the circle, wherever one is. So I'm going to walk the circle and transition just once, so you could see this. And I might kind of leave the frame just a little bit, but I'm hoping you can kind of get enough to see what I'm doing. So this is the static position, and as you're walking the circle, your hands are continuing to face the center, as if around a tree, with the palm directed toward the tree. Okay, and I'm going to try to make the transition in camera view. And then, let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to do this. And then here, there we go. Here, yin-yang position. And then up and around. That's how we turn. And then see we're going in the other direction. So, that's that. That's how the single palm, the basic palm, the starting point, essentially, for Baguazhang is done in total, the whole body. So what we're doing here in this third and final form of the set that I've been showing you presently is just the top half. Sorry, I lost my balance a little bit there. Transitioning from circle walking to standing, sometimes it takes a little bit to get your balance. So, okay, so we're gonna start. What I want to do is I'm just going to do the third form right now. Then, like, to conclude the video, we'll do all three of them together, so you can see how it all kind of works. Now, again, in this video, I'm not going to do as many breath counts in the hold positions or as many reps as I normally would do. You know, because it'll just render the video kind of inefficient, and you'll get the point. I mean, you know, I'll go through enough reps that the point will certainly be made. So right now what we're going to do is the same foot posture, roughly shoulder length apart, is going to hold for this. And they don't have to be perfectly aligned straight ahead, but you don't want them to be turned out so much. I mean, there can be like a little bit, just like a smidgen of turn out in the feet, but it's really important for that not to be excessive. So shoulder width apart, and then we're going to start now, and the hand that's in front is the one that's going to be the first turn. So the first hand that's going to be outward, the dominant hand. Okay, let me just back up a little bit. Okay, there we go. Okay, so yin-yang stance is with what you want is the one arm is going to be inner, one outer, and they're going to be crossed, and pretty much the wrists should be aligned. They're not touching. They're close to each other, maybe a couple of inches apart, and maybe 6 inches away from the body, something like that, somewhere in there, 6 to 8. And you're going to hold it around the level, pretty much around the same level that you're going to hold Embrace the Tree, around the thymus, around the bottom of the neck, pretty much. Maybe like a smidgen higher. No, there we go. Okay, yeah, it's pretty much the same level. So if you were to bring that in, it's the same level. Okay. So right around where the shoulders are, and you're just going to hold that. You're going to hold that, really root into the position as you would in Embrace the Tree. And once you get aligned, you want to allow your body to sink into your posture, to sink into the root, into the ground. Okay, then what we're going to do is, again, the right hand is on top, so that's going to be the one we're going to start with, and we're going to bring the hands to the center line, okay, by bringing the arms up to the center line with the dominant hand, the one we're turning with, the dominant hand up above, slightly above, with the bottom of the palm of that one at about the same level as the tips of the fingers of the non-dominant hand. So here, and then we're going to go upward, sometimes called overleaf, because what we're doing here is we're kind of running the, not quite touching, you can touch lightly, but we're sort of running the arms and the hands over one another. Overleaf. I think it's a very good term for this. So just like sort of this motion, if you can imagine. And then here, here. And you notice what we're doing is, if you are in this posture and you begin, the hands are up or facing the body or up as you're transitioning. But once you go into the posture, the hands are turning. Obviously they have to, because they're going to be facing outward. Okay? So again, upward, and we're going to turn and down. So as you're going up, you're inhaling. As you're going down, you're exhaling on this one, okay? So up and down. And you see, you go up, you're preserving the hands toward the body as you go upward. Then turning them, twisting the hands toward this direction so that the palms are outward. Again, the bottom palm is sort of like at a 45 to 60 degree angle. And the upper palm is almost flush toward the dominant side. Turning and here, set. And then you're going to draw, turn again, because we're in transition, turn the hands again, and draw the dominant hand in, and we're going to exchange. See this overleaf? We're going to exchange as we go upward. Breathing in, and breathing out. See? So again, turning the hands toward, upward, turning the body to the other side. Drawing the dominant hand in and exchanging, overleaf and exchange. Turn, exhale. Inhale, down, exhale. And while you're doing this, you might notice you can let your gaze sort of like, you don't want it to go quite as high as the dominant hand is going, but it can kind of, there's a natural tendency, so you kind of want to lean into it a little bit for the gaze to raise a little bit as you're turning, and then settle. Turn and then settle. And you'll notice that in the whole body. That's sort of like natural for the whole body. So if we're here, we're sunk in now. And then as we exchange, the body's sort of like naturally going to rise up and then settle again. Overleaf and exchange, turn here. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So you can notice as when the hand is at the top of the circle, that's when the transition from inhale to exhale should occur. So I'm just going to do it a few more times, silently most likely, unless I think of something else, so that you can see it before we transition to doing all three of the forms together. And then when we're done with that, we go back to yin-yang posture and hold. And then when you transition to finish, you can go back to this neutral position we've been using with sort of the dominant hand, the right hand in this case, with the thumb in the palm of the other, and the sort of frenulum of the hands come together at the dantian. Roughly, the thumbs are going to be at the level of the belly button, and then the hands, generally speaking, will be at the dantian about 2 inches below, and you want to settle into this position for a while as well, using your breath counts. And so from here, I'll transition into doing all three together as they're practiced. And I know I said this already, but I just want to emphasize, when I'm doing this, I won't be doing it for the amount of breath counts in the static position or the amount of repetitions I normally would, because I just don't want to make the video unwieldy. But as far as breath counts and the static positions are concerned, don't push yourself. That's not the most important thing. You hold for 10, 20 breaths, that's fine. It's okay. As far as the repetitions are concerned, try 10. And remember, we want to be symmetrical here when we're doing, a two-sided form. So, 10 or 20 if you can. Try that. And so I'm going to begin now, and I'm going to be silent through this process, and I'll just display how this works, doing, a few breath counts on the static postures, and then a few repetitions on the movements. Okay? Now, I'm going to interrupt just for a moment at the conclusion, because what you can do at this point, and sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, is you can actually, because this is the conclusion, we're about to go into the final posture, is you can open the hands up and go into embrace the tree again. And sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. And hold that posture for your conclusion, transitioning from yin-yang stance to embrace the tree. And then downward, sort of still letting the form of embrace the tree slowly dissolve as you come down and back into our neutral posture of the Dantian. And then settle into that posture. For the same amount of breath counts, you want the posture held, whatever your breath count might be, you want the posture held in neutral position, embrace the tree, and yin-yang stance to be the same, whatever it is. If it's 8, do 8 for all of them. 10, 12, whatever it is, be consistent through all of them for the breath counts. And then that's it. So that concludes this particular set of Qigong. And as I said, the next videos, and I'll wait for a little bit before I start creating or sending those videos, is the next set I will do is the integral Qigong, that compilational form I was talking about. And then after that, we'll get into some more of the Baguazhang Qigong, more of the meat of that. But for now, with this set, these 3 practices, this is really solid fundamental stuff that can be used at any time, really, not just as a way of, as scales are to music, as I was describing it. That is to say, as a way of tuning your body and your energy system for Tai Chi practice or any other internal martial art or martial art practice for that matter, but internal martial art in particular, but also for life. Anytime, first thing in the morning, to set your day in a good harmonic, subtle energy tone. In the evening, to transition out of your day in that same type of harmonized, subtle energy tone. It's great for warm up and cool down, as a matter of fact. Or at any time you're feeling off center, or you're feeling like your cultivational situation is not ideal, or you're out of balance. This is a great sort of all-purpose practice, this set. So I'm going to get this video posted, and I will send it to you as soon as it uploads. And it's always a pleasure, Abby, and thank you so much for your friendship. And it's always great to share and be shared with by you. I'm very thankful.